Fighting games were all the rage in the late 80s and early 90s. Once you got a fighter in your local arcade, man, you were set. And if said fighter took place in the streets, oh, forget about it. That thing would be sucking up quarters all the time. For some reason, people were just infatuated with fighting, but especially with fighting in the streets. And in that proud tradition of virtual urban delinquency, SNK made their own Street Fighter, that's a pun, not a trademark, and called it Street Smart. Although, I mean, is fighting in the streets ever really smart? Street Smart is a 2D fighter starring a guy in a white martial arts outfit, and it was released to arcades 2 years after Capcom released a game called Street Fighter. I'm sure there's no connection. The game was also ported to the Sega Genesis in 1991, and just this month it was re-released on the PlayStation Network. Street Smart joins a growing list of SNK classics on PSN, which is great because no modern gamer should be deprived of the opportunity to sample these things. They're representative of an era we'll never see again, and playing them today, this one included, is like stepping into a time machine. A time machine that punches you in the face and steals your quarters. And today, that's what strikes you the most about Street Smart. This game is damn hard. The only reason I got through it is because pressing the triangle button pops in another virtual quarter, so you essentially have unlimited continues. Of course, this was a deliberate design element that was common in arcade games, especially in fighters. You're supposed to get your ass kicked so that you keep popping in those quarters. Actually, come to think of it, arcades were like the retro predecessor of downloadable content. There's really no difference between spending a few bucks for extra levels and spending a few bucks in quarters to finish a game. Well, thankfully, there's no slot for quarters on the PlayStation 3. Or at least none that are meant for quarters. Now that I get to actually finish the game, I can appreciate its premise even more. You're a guy who picks fights in streets all over the country, and you do this in order to win money and women. After every fight, a woman approaches, some just materialize out of thin air, and joins your little entourage. Some people call this silly, I call it Friday night. In addition to being savagely difficult, the gameplay is also pretty standard. You can punch and kick and jump kick. You can also do a hip toss. And meanwhile, my freaking opponents are giving me pile drivers and abdominal stretches. It doesn't seem fair. Although the game does give you the ability to string together combos. You do a series of attacks which keeps your opponent reeling when he isn't, like, punching your face in. It's also a pretty short game. You can collect every woman in the game in less than half an hour, at which point you gather at a football stadium and they parade around you. One even offers you a big gulp. I think I'm in love. By the way, championship. 2 words. So much for Street Smart. Fighters have never really been my thing, but if you're into the genre and interested in playing an SNK oldie, the price is definitely right. This thing's only $2.99, which is a lot less than most people spent playing it back in the day. It's Street Smart on the PlayStation Network. You collect those women and earn that big gulp.